I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco, chiropractor and owner of OcraMed Health. We're in the office today talking about a very important topic, spinal mobility. Now, I've been treating neck and back injuries for almost 30 years now, and one of the biggest problems I see is lack of spinal mobility, in particular in the thoracic spine. So what's the thoracic spine? Well, if we look at the spine, the model of the spine, and this is the way I have it, it's as if I was sitting and you're looking at me from the side. The thoracic spine is actually the largest part of the spine. You know, in the neck area, the neck is made up of 7 cervical vertebrae, and the low back area is made up of 5 lumbar vertebrae. The thoracic spine is actually made up of 12 thoracic vertebrae, so it's a large section of the spine. It already naturally has less mobility than the neck and lower back because in that thoracic area, the ribs are coming off of the thoracic spine, forming the rib cage, so naturally it has less mobility to begin with. But the thing that separates the thoracic spine from the cervical and lumbar is it curves in the opposite direction. So the cervical spine and lumbar spine curve in the same manner. The thoracic spine curves in the opposite direction. Now, the curves in the spine are obviously important. We wouldn't want a straight spine. It would be like a pogo stick. It wouldn't be able to absorb any of our activities day to day. So the curvature of the spine is very important. However, the thoracic spine curving in this direction tends to get a lot of abuse as far as mobility goes because gravity's pulling down, and what do we do all day? We're always, a lot of us are forward. You know, we're at the computer, we're at our desk, we're doing things forward all day. This area of the thoracic spine, as you see with people with poor posture, the shoulders are down, the back is hunched. This thoracic spine, it's like someone pours glue in there. It just gets locked up. It gets less, very, very dramatic loss of mobility, and it gets almost stuck in this position. Some people, you can see it more than others. People with poor posture, almost like they start having that rounded back look that obviously as you get older and older and older can become really debilitating. This loss of mobility here and this inability to open this back up and be stuck in this position puts a lot of stress in other parts of the body. If this isn't moving well, you're putting more stress in the neck, which can lead to chronic neck injuries. People come in sometimes with ongoing neck injuries. And one of the first things I check is I check their thoracic mobility because this loss of motion here leads to a lot of chronic neck trouble, leads to a lot of back problems. Same reason, you have no motion here, you put more stress into the lower back. Also, tightness in the thoracic spine can lead to shoulder problems. You know, if you're really tight in the thoracic spine, you're going to have a hard time pressing overhead. So you get into the gym and you can't get that thoracic spine to extend into a good position. And if you ask someone with a tight thoracic spine to go overhead, a lot of times they're in this position, so they're not going to be able to do a good shoulder press. And if they're also tight in this position, they may go into the gym, they jump up on a bar to do some chin-ups. That ends up putting a lot of stress through their shoulders because their thoracic spine isn't moving correctly. Shoulder presses also, if you have a tight thoracic spine, what do you see people do in the gym a lot of times to make up for it? They arch a lot in their lower back to do the press. Once again, leads to injury. So tightness in here can just lead to all sorts of problems just from day-to-day activities or from in the gym. You know, you can hurt your shoulders, you can hurt your lower back, you can hurt your neck. This is an area that has to be worked on. I work on my thoracic mobility every day. I just found that since I've been in my 50s, this area just wants to lock up on me. I can just feel it. It wants to get tight. It wants to lock up, but I don't let it. I just stay on it. I actually, honestly, I work on this every day. I do some type of thoracic mobility work every day to maintain mobility so that I can go in the gym and maintain good form when I want to squat, when I want to perform Olympic lifts such as snatches where you have to be able to get that bar back, deadlifts. You have to have good mobility to stay injury free in the gym. As you lose the mobility, you're going to lose good form in the gym, you're going to get injured. So I can't stress enough how important it is to let's get this thoracic spine moving correctly. I'm going to show you one of the techniques I use to improve my thoracic mobility. So let's get right to it. All right, so let's go over what we need to do this thoracic mobility work. We're going to need some type of, I'm using an exercise band, but a regular towel will work fine, so a towel or an exercise band. I have a broomstick. I'm using an ankle weight. You can do this initially without the ankle weight to get started if you're not used to doing this, but I find an ankle weight comes in handy, so a broomstick and just a light ankle weight on top of it. I'm using a large medicine ball. I have one of those soft type, so you can use something like this. You can use a harder medicine ball. You can actually just grab 2 or 3 pillows behind you. You'll see in a second what I'm going to be doing, but you can just use something to kind of prop up into the thoracic spine. And then I have another pillow here that I'm going to just use to support my neck. So that's all the stuff you're going to need. After you watch this, I'm sure you'll be able to find stuff around the house that you'll be able to use in place if you don't have exactly what I have. Now this band I'm going to use on my feet to keep them in position. Now, I love doing this stretch. I used it today actually because I was in the gym. I was doing some Olympic lifts. I was doing some snatch work. And so I like this lift because not only am I working my thoracic mobility, I like this stretch, I should say, because not only am I working my thoracic mobility, but it gives you some mobility work in the hip area also. So I have the feet where I pull them, I'm going to pull them in, and I have the feet facing each other. And I use the band, or like I said, a towel, and I wrap it around my feet and ankles. And I'm going to use this when I get in position. I'm actually going to tuck the ends of this under my hips to keep this in position, and this will allow my feet to stay forward. It won't let them slide away from me. So I have the band around my feet and ankles, and this is loose. I'm going to put it under my hips in a second. Then I'm going to take the exercise, the medicine ball, and I'm going to get on top of it with my thoracic spine like that. So once I'm up on the ball, I'm going to grab each end of the band. I'm going to pull my feet in tight. I'm going to let the knees fall off to the side, and then I'm going to tuck that band, and I'm going to sit right on top of it. So now I have the band underneath my hips. My feet can't slide. My knees are open, so I'm getting a stretch through the hips. I'm going to use the pillow, give a little support to my neck, just like that. And then we're going to grab the broomstick. So I change hand position. I'm going to start with kind of a narrow grip here, and I'm going to let the broomstick kind of stretch back, and I'm opening up that thoracic spine. I have a pillow behind my head, so I don't have to put too much stress on my neck. And I'm just going to let this hang back behind me. And I'm going to really concentrate on breathing. I'm going to take deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And every time I breathe out, I just try to let this settle in a little bit deeper and really start to open up my shoulders, my mid-back. My knees are off to the side, so my hips are getting some work, some stretching. And I'm going to hold it for about 60 seconds. And then I'll come back up. And I'm going to go for then a wider grip on this. And I'll play around with the grip. And I'll go for a wider grip now on the broomstick. And again, I just stretch back. With a wider grip, I'm actually getting some shoulder work. I get some stretch through my pec area is getting stretched. That thoracic spine is really in a nice position. And once again, I concentrate on breathing. And I'm going to stay for about 60 seconds, really trying to breathe through this. If it starts to feel uncomfortable, I just keep breathing and just try to let it stretch on each breath a little bit more and a little bit more. Just like that. All right. So what I recommend doing to start with is 3 60-second stretches. You don't have to come out of the position, so you have to get this all set up. All I do is after 60 seconds, I just bring the broomstick up. I might adjust my grip and then go back into the stretch. Don't come all the way back up. Then you got to put the thing back around your ankles and get back on the ball. But I just stay in that position. Just after 60 seconds, bring the broomstick back up. So start with 3 sets, 60 seconds each. Like I said, you don't need the ankle weight at first. It feels good though once you get used to it, because it does give a little bit of an extra stretch in there. Eventually try to build up on the time. I usually sit in that position for about 2 minutes at a time, and I'll do it 3 or 4 times as a stretch for the thoracic spine. Great way to work on mobility with that stretch. When you get done with it, like I said, I did this right before I went into and did some working out today. I mean, you can just feel the increase in mobility in your thoracic spine, your shoulders, just your whole spinal mobility you just feel so much more flexible. It's just an awesome way to work on that thoracic part of your spine. So I want you to give it a try. All right, so get started on that thoracic mobility work. Don't wait till you get to the age where it's starting to tighten up. You should be doing this at a young age. If you're active, if you like to do different sports, if you like to lift weights, be working on this now. Don't wait to the point where you're getting older and you start noticing that lack of motion. It makes it harder to fix. But you can fix this thing. You can improve your thoracic mobility if you work on it. So get to it, okay? I wish you guys all the best. Listen, when you have a chance, get to my website, www.OcraMedHealth.com. We have all different colored Tai Chi balls in stock. Core Flex Ab Roller is in. This thing is awesome for working the core. Exercise programs, mobility plans. Check it out when you have some time, all right? Hey, listen, if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health on YouTube. Questions about exercises or injuries, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I always get back to everyone who writes in. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is here to keep you fit forever.